Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Hello, once again, my name is Omobola Stephen. I'm a life and relationship and also a transformational coach. I help people to wage through life and also unburden. So I'm asking you this moment, why not hold my hands together and let's walk this path together. Now, I want you to understand that sometimes you can think or you miss episodes of my talk show. You know what? You can search online for Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen on any distribution platforms, and you can have the best listening experience of your time. Now, on today's show, I have a guest with me who's going to be discussing about health and wellness. Now, you know what? She is Dena Otrin. Dena Otrin is a licensed professional counselor, a life coach, certified Reiki 3 practitioner, and a certified yoga teacher. Welcome with me on Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen, Dena Otrin.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. So, Dena, can my audience meet you, please?
Sure. My name is Dena Otrin. I am a licensed professional counselor in private practice for 18 years and in the mental health field for 21 years. I'm also Reiki 3 certified. I am a 200-hour certified yoga teacher. I did that more even for myself. I felt like I kept getting pulled to yoga, to a teaching program, and I took one yoga class in my life. And I was like, okay, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I'm going with it because the universe is sending this to me for a reason.
That's right.
So I went and talked to the owner, and that day signed up, and I realized it was more about me. It was about giving myself that self-care and also how I could translate that with my clients within whether it was mini retreats or group sessions that I was running, women empowerment groups, or even individuals. So it was, a nice combination because sometimes things are called out for us too.
That's right.
Yeah.
So how do past experiences shape one's life today?
How have experiences shaped my life?
Yeah, how do past experiences shape one's life today?
I think they shape them dramatically. That's one thing that I talk about a lot, specifically in counseling, because counseling is also about going back to earlier times in your life. So one thing that I talk about a lot with people are what are the messages? What's the programming that they have heard that maybe is not valid? It really doesn't resonate, and it is not defining their authentic self. And how many people are living with these limited beliefs based on someone's old perceptions, programming, things they've heard, things they've experienced.
Correct.
And that's something that I love to work on with people, is to be able to navigate those and start to challenge them and start to really discover who they are.
Right.
And discover what's next in their life.
Brilliant. Right. So can we talk about self-worth?
Self-worth. Absolutely. And that, I think, self-worth is about getting to know your authentic self and embracing it, and also embracing and activating your voice. I think that's a huge thing with self-worth. And that includes stop owning other people's thoughts and behaviors, because maybe it's not yours to own. Maybe it's somebody else's. Taking the needle off the record of that old programming that just keeps playing in your head. I think that's so important. Challenging those limiting beliefs, and then doing things to also impact and empower yourself through meditation, through self-care. And self-care can be in so many different ways to nourish yourself, mind, body, and soul. Certainly counseling or life coaching. There are so many things that we can do to really build and be more in tune and in touch with our authentic self. And that is where we find our self-worth.
Correct. So can you tell me about Reiki?
Sure. I love Reiki. And in fact, I decided to learn Reiki because I was on the table. And I will tell you intuitively, because I use a lot of intuition also when I work with people. We all have that ability. It's whether we tap into it.
That's right.
And I met this woman in a completely different setting, a networking meeting, and I just felt this magnetic connection. And that's what she does. She was a master Reiki teacher. And I'm like, wow, I think she can help me, was the thought that went through my mind. And I saw her, and we had several sessions together. And we all have wounds. And I went to go see her for my wounds and what I needed to release so that I could move forward in my life. And being on that table for me was life-changing. And it was transformational. And because of my experience, I was like, I want to learn this because I feel the effects and the changes. And I love the changes that happened. So I wanted to learn that so I could bring that forward. And I was a co-author in a book, and I had discussed just a chapter because there were about 22 authors. And my chapter was about my piece with Reiki. And the book was called Sacred Body Wisdom. Which is great because we all have body wisdom.
Tell me more.
Everybody having body wisdom is definitely about memories. Everything stays in our cells, and our body always remembers. And that is where we have these visceral responses to things. This is where then, if we're exposed to something or a song or a situation, we start to kind of feel something in our body that feels uncomfortable.
It's
because our body reacts. And that I thought was something amazing that was so beneficial with Reiki, with energy moving and energy healing. It helped for me, I can only speak for myself, it helped to be able to pull stuff from my cells. So my responses and reactions were not there like they used to be. And boy, was that life-changing. And it also it felt so freeing.
Correct.
Yes.
Wow. Correct.
Yeah. So I love Reiki. Unfortunately, in my office right now, I don't have a space to do it, but I have a table, but just no space to do it. And I definitely feel it's in my future. It's in my shifting somewhere because I find it so impactful. And like I said, life-changing and transformational that I want to bring that back. I want to bring that forth for clients.
Right. Wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
So how important is rejuvenation to one's total wellness?
And what was the first part? I'm sorry?
Now, how important is rejuvenation to one's general well-being?
Oh, absolutely important. Certainly, here's something that when I talk about self-care with people, specifically with women, what I often hear is, I'm being selfish. It's taking time away from my family, and I can't afford it, or it may cost money. So I kind of want to debunk those three things right here with self-care. So the first one being, it is absolutely not selfish, it is self-love. We must give back to ourselves and nourish ourselves with self-care in some way, mind, body, soul. The second one is, if we cannot be at our optimum best, how can we be our best for our family? How can we be the best in our work? How can we support and be there for others' needs to our optimum capability if we're not replenishing and nourishing ourselves? So, for instance, stress is a huge component that people need self-care for. So if we're always at a heightened level of stress here and we don't nourish, it doesn't allow it to tick down. So one little thing happens and we're up here. But if we're able to nourish every day, whether it's something, a bath, 30 minutes of alone time, a walk outside, anything that allows it to tick down, when stress happens, then it only goes to here. And we're able to maybe manage here. I would love to see it a lot lower, but because of the camera, I'm just putting it up this high.
No problem. No problem.
And then the third one is about self-care costing money. Self-care can be absolutely free. Going out in nature is free. Taking a bath is free. Turning on some music and dancing around your house is free. There are so many things that can tap into what you love or that brings you joy or happiness that is completely free. Anything that helps you to feel grounded and centered can be free. So kind of debunking all three of those things.
That's right. So let's
self-care is so important.
That's great. So I understand that part of self-care because recently I've also been, a freak for self-care within because I believe that me time you need to have for yourself because life can be overwhelming. Your family, your job, your career, trying to balance, they can be overwhelming. And at the end of the day, what you don't have, you can give people. If you are not okay mentally, you can be able to deliver to your optimum, as I said. So I can relate to what you said. Now, what strategies can you provide to someone who is struggling, to strike a balance between your career, your family, and also being a mother?
Sure. I kind of see it as it's always a flow. There's always this flow of energy, and it's really hard to find balance because balance looks different every moment, every day. Yeah. It depends on what needs attention at that moment.
That's right.
And so there's always this flow. So one thing that I think is really important is for people to start having some self-awareness. Number one, of how much they are doing in a day, how much energy they are giving out, and what are they giving to themselves? And literally, it could be as simple as taking a piece of paper and writing down all the things that maybe they did in one day, and what did they do for themselves? I want to tell you an example also is I had run one of my women's retreats, and I had them, there was bodies, they were shaped like bodies. And I had them do one side of the body as to what they look like when they feel stressed and what are elements of stress that are in their life. And then I had them flip the body over and I had them draw a picture of what their face looks like when they're calm and when they give themselves self-care. And in that moment, one of the members started to cry.
Wow.
And she said, I realize right now I don't do anything for myself.
Wow.
And this is an adult woman.
Wow.
So number one, we have to have self-awareness of how much we are constantly giving to others and what are we giving to ourselves. So that could be in an activity like that or just jotting it down on a piece of paper. But we have to be mindful of that. Yeah. That is like number one. Right. And then number two.
All right.
And then number two would be figuring out, what do I want to bring to my life? But it's actually something that's going to make me feel good. It's going to release stress. It's going to bring me joy. Because what one person's relaxation and happiness point is something different to somebody else. So I think that's the next piece, is knowing what someone wants to bring to their life. And also knowing what they can. Given their geographical location, giving any restrictions, like what can you bring to your life? And then I think the third thing is actually trying to schedule that time in. Because as we all know, if we don't schedule it in, something else comes in instead.
That's right.
And we are left in the dust yet again.
That's right. And so you begin to juggle.
That's right. And then you begin to feel even more stressed because you don't
That's
have that
right.
release for yourself.
That's right.
So you have to schedule something in for yourself. And it's a luxury, I feel, if we can do a lot of things for ourselves. But I think it's a necessity to do something every day.
Right.
It's great when people can do many things for themselves for hours. That's awesome. Not everybody can. So at least a necessity of doing something every day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So how important is emotional wellness or mental wellness?
I feel it's the foundation of so many things. For me, working with so many different clients, if I see someone, and I'll just give some examples, I'm seeing a lot of even teenagers with anxiety, teenagers and young adults in the past several years, and that anxiety has gotten more present and pronounced with younger and younger ages. And for instance, I've had several college students throughout my time have to leave school because of their anxiety. I've had students need to leave school because of their depression. And then they feel like, they don't know what to do with their life because they're supposed to be in college, and they feel really lost. So I think mental health and wellness is such a foundation in so many things within our lives. If we're not feeling mentally well, it can inhibit us, it can demotivate us, it can stop us in our tracks. It can totally change the situation of where we are, such as college to moving back home. And now feeling like, great, all my friends are at school and what am I doing with my life? So, I feel it's such a foundation in so many ways.
Right. That's important. So thank you so much for that. So what advice can you give to someone, who lacked parental love, care, and attention as a child? Now, the person is finding it hard, to be able to give this back to the people in a life. So can you provide a solution or an advice to this person?
So just to make sure that I understood you correctly, it would be someone who maybe did not experience a lot of love in their life growing up, and then wondering as an adult, how do I give that?
Yeah, so it's been struggling. You've been struggling to give it out to the people in your life.
Okay. And certainly this is going to be case by case, different situations, but a very generic, general answer would be one certainly is we have to all come from a place of doing the best we can with what we know. So I think that that's one thing, is trying to do the best we can with what we know. I think the second thing is also trying to bring in, how would I have liked it when I was young? And then trying to tap into, wow, I would have loved if maybe my parent came to my games. I would have loved it if, I had a birthday party, whatever that is. And then trying to bring that forth to your own child, because maybe I was without and I want to do better. And that is always the goal, we hope, is a parent does better than the first, and we hope our children do better than us.
Right, absolutely.
And then the third, honestly, is sometimes people need to have some counseling or life coaching on this, because there's that piece too of we know what we know. And there could be a very narrow framework with that. And maybe we need to learn more skills, and we need to learn how to tap into other emotions and be able to work on those wounds that maybe are causing those roadblocks. To be able to tap into love, love to a higher degree. Not to say that person doesn't love their child, but maybe the expression of love.
Yeah. So you're talking about love. Love is a very important thing. And also, I don't know, because I realize that you, as a person, you don't grow up with love. Now you find someone who reinforces that in your life. You get hooked to someone who doesn't even show you love. So how are you going to, cope with all this kind of extreme situation?
So if you're with someone who doesn't show you love?
Yeah.
Well, here's an important piece is I think we all as individuals really need to be honest with ourselves and look at the relationships we're in and look at if our needs are being met and look at is this fulfilling me? I think that's a huge piece. And there may be many other, criteria pieces that are being met by this partner. So sometimes people will see like, well, I know that he or she loves me in their ways, and that is enough for me. So therefore, I've come to a place of acceptance because this person provides so many other positive, empowering, wonderful things for me. But if I feel like I'm not really feeling love and I don't have these other positive things, then it's time to kind of assess why you're in a relationship.
Correct. That's very important. It's been lovely, Omobola Stephen, and now I have a guest on the show with me who's been doing justice to health and wellness, Dena Otrin. Now, Dena Otrin is a licensed professional counselor, a life coach, a certified Reiki practitioner, and also certified yoga teacher. Now, I wanted to ask you, do you have any projects that you're working on presently?
Any certain things that I'm working on right now?
Yes.
Yes. Actually, coming in January, I am going to be hosting a course. It's on chakras. So it's chakras, loving the rainbow within. And it's going to be presented in two ways. It could be an online self-guided course, or it could be a live online group course. So I will have those. I'm like in the process of creating that. So I'm looking at the beginning of January. And then also in January, I've, because for the first time in 21 years, I'm actually working from home, seeing clients on the computer. I'm like, wow, this is pretty great. So I'm now transitioning my women's empowerment circle from my office online. So come also in January, I'm going to be hosting a women's empowerment group, Empowering for What's Next.
Right.
And that'll also be in January.
Right. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And certainly those more information for those will be on my website, empoweredlife.net.
All right. So your social media networks, can you give it out?
My social media info?
That's right.
Yes. I am on Instagram under An Empowered Life. And sometimes it may come up as An Empowered Life Now, but it is An Empowered Life. And also I have a Facebook page that is An Empowered Life.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have a YouTube channel also where I haven't done any work on that, but I do have some audio blogging. Right. And I also have some interviews that I've done with people that have made some empowering changes in their life and are working with others to empower them.
Right.
So I love highlighting people who do amazing work.
Right. Do you have any parting word?
Any important work?
Any parting word?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Do you have any parting word?
Oh, parting words.
Yeah.
I said this yesterday, and I feel it resonates so strongly, is that we have to be open to what the universe wants to send us. Whether it's messages, whether it's something intuitively, whether it's opportunities, we have to be open to what the universe wants to send us. And tapping into our intuition. I will say this too, because I talk about this a lot. We need to trust our intuition and our heart, because those two will never steer us wrong. Absolutely. When we get into our head is where confusion and limiting beliefs come in.
Sure.
So if we can really come from a place of our intuition, our heart, meditation, and being open to what the universe wants to show us or share with us or bring to us.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you.
It's been a pleasure being here. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
I wish all of your listeners so well, and I hope something resonates for them.
Right. So, and so that's all on today's show. Let's do this some other time with all my love. Here's Omobola signing out. I so peace you to you. And sister always, it's bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.